Hello and welcome back, my friends. I've got a special gardening video for you today. We're going to be talking about something really important to myself, and that is trying to create a closed loop system in your garden. So what does that mean? That means trying to create all the vitality, all the mulch, all the compost, all the nutrients, all the fertilizer you're going to need to grow a successful garden that thrives with very little outside, if no outside inputs, in order for you to have success. Now, there are several plants that I feel are going to get you there, and one of my absolute favorites that I have growing, and it's dotted throughout my entire landscape here, is none other than the Comfrey plant. So here's a lovely example of the Comfrey. You see how pungent and green the leaves of this plant are? It's quite beautiful, and they produce these wonderful little trumpet-like blossoms that beneficial insects like bees absolutely adore. Now, this particular variety here is known as Bocking 14. And unlike the traditional Comfrey, Symphytum officinale, it doesn't produce viable seeds that could become invasive and spread throughout your garden. So although the root mass itself still is going to spread a little bit and give you a larger patch over the years, you're going to be able to contain it to that specific area where you're growing the plant. So what makes this plant so special? Well, it contains just about every nutrient that the plants growing in your garden need to thrive. It has a full NPK value, which is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And generally what I've been able to find is that it contains about a 3-1-4 value. So that's pretty good. It's high in nitrogen. It'll do well as far as creating root development in your crops, and also for flowering shrubs and trees to develop a nice fruit set. It also contains many other nutrients and trace minerals. And the reason why this plant is able to uptake so many of the nutrients that other plants aren't able to is because it has an extremely deep taproot. That taproot can go down several feet. And because of that, it's able to mine up nutrients and minerals that are way down deep that other plants can't reach. Now, it's very common in a food forest style garden that you'll see Comfrey growing near the base of fruit trees, and my garden here is no exception. This one's got some rather large leaves starting to develop. Now, if you look closely at the leaf, you'll see these little tiny hairs that are all over the stem mainly. Now, these can be a little bit irritating to some folks. For myself, I never really feel any effect from that, but you may want to wear gloves when you're handling the Comfrey. Now, this Comfrey is a bit taller than the others. I haven't cut it back in a while, and if you allow the Comfrey to continue to grow, it will get rather large, but I'm constantly chopping it because it's a chop and come again plant. So to harvest the plant, you just make a flush cut. You can leave a few of these leaves for added photosynthesis, but it's not necessary. And this plant is going to grow back again and again throughout the season. Now, one of my favorite gardening tools for harvesting Comfrey is a sickle like this. It has a hook knife serrated at the end. It makes it really easy to just get around the whole plant and cut it down. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, this is going to flush back out with new growth, and we can do the same thing over and over again throughout the growing season. All right, so now we've got our harvest of leaves. How do we use them in the garden? Well, there's actually several ways that you can utilize this plant. I've gone over all those different ways on my channel over the years. One of my favorite is to literally just scatter it around the base of your plants, and you can chop it down if you'd like, but it's not even necessary to do that. You just take that mulch material, place it around your plants, let it break down, and add those nutrients into the soil. Another one of my favorite methods to create an instant Comfrey liquid fertilizer that I came up with a couple years ago is to add those leaves into a blender with a little bit of water and blend it up. Now you've got a Comfrey fertilizer ready to go. You can add it, you can dilute it into a bucket of water if you want, and spread it throughout your plants, do a foliar spray. Really cool. Another great way to utilize the Comfrey and make a fertilizer is to simply drop it in a vessel like a bucket. Now you can rip this stuff up and break it down a little further, which is always a good idea. Then all you're going to do is add some water to this. And then, although not completely necessary, it can be a good idea to add some sort of a weight or stone on top. just to keep everything submerged for the first couple days. And by then you should be able to remove whatever it is you have laying down. And last, you're going to want to put a cover over the top. Some folks like to put lids on here. Now you're going to want to give this a stir. If you can do it every day, that's great. Every other day would be all right as well. In about a week, you have yourself some stinky but very effective fertilizer for your garden. Another great thing about the Comfrey is it's so easy to proliferate and divide the rhizomes, the roots of the plant, and create a whole bunch more of these plants if you need them. So to divide the plant, all you're going to do is, again, get at the base and just dig up a little bit. Now you could go ahead and just plant this in your garden, it'll take off, but any little chunk that has some viable root on there is going to grow. It's one of the reasons why you would never want to till this up in your garden unless you were looking to really make a dense patch, because every little chunk that got left in the ground would grow a new plant. But let's go ahead and break this into a couple different options. So even something like this is going to grow a new plant for you. We could divide this further down, but there's another plant. And here would be another plant. And just know, wherever you put it, it's going to be there for a long, long time to come. So with that, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you're all having a great day. Until next time, this is Dan from plantabundance.com. Take care. I'll be talking to you again soon.